Today, the guest we have is a unique and a rare blend of strategic clarity, scientific rigor, and global perspective. Cross-continental career journey in this podcast, we are going to learn and get inspired from Bhrugu's, decode some of the trends in HEOR, and most importantly, learn some of the principles that make a professional like him stay grounded, stay curious, and stay inspired.
Overall ecosystem of how corporate strategy works, a career aspiration to work for corporate in its corporate headquarters. There are like hundreds of drugs which are out there in the market.
And then he served a lot of HEOR and strategic access positions.
Success is always a journey, it's not a destination. I think that's meeting all these like-minded people together and working towards one single goal is definitely a journey.
Bhrugu also has a very strong academic background and he has contributed to a lot of scientific publications, participated in global conferences, and he keep a pulse of what's happening in HEOR space in pharma emerging markets as well as mature markets.
More and more pharma graduates are pulled into this HEOR. HEOR is central part of generating evidence for all these particular stakeholders. Patient care is something which is at the heart of any work that you do, but there is still a huge unmet need in this particular space.
The kind of journey that you have had working in consulting as well and in the core pharma. Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of BRiK Academy's Candid Conversations with Industry Experts. And I'm your moderator, Mihir Pujara. So the idea of BRiK Academy's podcast series is to bring the real stories and real insights from leaders who are shaping the future of pharmaceutical industry. Today, the guest we have is a unique and a rare blend of strategic clarity, scientific rigor, and global perspective. Please join me in welcoming Bhrugu Pariti. From roots in India to currently serving as a global HEOR lead for renal, cardio, and metabolic franchise at Boehringer Ingelheim, Germany, Bhrugu's career journey is a testament of what happens when curiosity meets commitment. Apart from Boehringer, Bhrugu has also served various positions as different organizations, and if I name few, he started as a scientific writer in Novartis, and then he served a lot of HEOR and strategic access positions in companies like Analytical Laser, IQVIA, Accenture, and Novo Nordisk. Bhrugu also has a very strong academic background and he has contributed to a lot of scientific publications, participated in global conferences, and he keep a pulse of what's happening in HEOR space in pharma emerging markets as well as mature markets. So today in this podcast, we are going to learn and get inspired from Bhrugu's cross-continental career journey, decode some of the trends in HEOR, and most importantly, learn some of the principles that make a professional like him stay grounded, stay curious, and stay inspired. So without further ado, let's get started. And Bhrugu, very warm welcome to BRiK Academy. And it's a pleasure for having you here today with us.
Thanks, Meher. Thanks for inviting me on this podcast. And thank you for that wonderful introduction. And looking forward how this podcast goes. And I'm excited to delve into all these experts' advice that I could give to brimming HEOR experts and maybe inspire few to become aspiring HEOR modelers or access people. Thank you.
Indeed. Let's start it with a very lighter question, and it's about your name. I think there is a classical anecdote attached to it. So if you can just give a few insights on how this name come up.
Yeah, I mean, that's. Thank you for this icebreaker question. Like, I think my name. I didn't know my name was unique until I had. I found from many people. Asking me, are you really an Indian? Because your name doesn't really sound Indian. And few people even ask, are you from South or are you from North? Because this name is very unique. And that's when I understood, okay, there should be some relevance. And it goes back to my grandpa. He's more into giving more importance to the Indian culture, Indian roots, Indian heritage. And he was the one who named me Bhrugu. So Bhrugu comes from one of the greatest sages that we had in our history books. So through that, I think my grandpa is more interested to give me a unique name. Even my brother, I mean, he was named Jamadagni, so you can imagine how my grandpa is more into giving importance not to just the name, but also to the tradition, to the long forgotten Indian heritage. And that's how he named me Bhrugu. And I'm happy that I have this unique name.
And you're making India proud over there.
Thank you. Let's see.
Yeah, sure. So now let's, because a lot of our viewers might not be exactly knowing, right, what is HUR, right? So let's start with a very basic question that I'm going to ask you, that if you can explain what HUR is and why HUR is significant in today's pharmaceutical world.
True. Health economics and outcome research, as we call it as HEOR, this has been there since long, but it's part of the medical community since ages, but its prominence rose as and when we have more and more innovative drugs coming into market, and that's when people found, okay, these innovative drugs would require a higher pricing, but at that point of time, not all people would be able to afford these expensive drugs. And then they started, the consortiums were formed, and then they started, hey, okay, we need to establish a system and create a new branch which combines and inculcates the expertise of different stakeholders, from medical, from commercial, from pricing, from forecasting, etc. And then they blended into a new field which is called as HEOR. And this has been there since 1990s when it rose to prominence. That's when people and companies started to evaluate the benefit risk ratio. Is the drug really satisfying the cost or the price tag that it has against the efficacy that it has? And then the NICE from UK has been formed. So NICE is the National Health Technology Assessment Body, which assesses how different drugs are being evaluated against their price. It talks about the cost effectiveness of the drug, and slowly US started adapting it. It rose to other EU countries like Spain or Italy, France, all started adapting this particular guidelines to get access to this new drug. And that's when I think we mostly work on not just creating economic models or creating evidence generation, but how these work that we do would actually impact patients' lives, especially when we are launching newer innovative therapies. Like nowadays, if you see the gene therapies or even newer first-in-class therapies, these are really expensive drugs. Like when the drug for hepatitis C was launched by Gilead, it was costing somewhere around like $87,000, which is a huge financial burden on patients as well as on the overall healthcare spending. So in order to get access of these expensive medications to people who are suffering from these diseases, they formed health technology assessment bodies which evaluate the entire parameters of the drug, be it the cost, be it the efficacy endpoints, be it the clinical trial endpoints, etc. So there is a very rigorous evaluation of the drug's value by these health technology assessment bodies. And this entire system is governed and led by the health economics people across. And I'm happy that nowadays in India, this is really growing in prominence. There are many companies which are paying a lot of importance to the health economics and access part of it. Previously, it used to be very traditional way of having just pharmacology or medicinal chemistry or even the lab-oriented study material that most of these pharma graduates used to uptake. But now more and more pharma graduates are pulled into these HEOR related jobs, and I'm happy it's growing, and India is a huge hub, and there is a lot of scope for innovative drugs to come out of Indian market, and I hope HEOR is going to play a very important role in coming years.
Indeed, indeed. I totally echo what you said. Now, in terms of when we decode your career journey, I'm going to follow a top down approach. We'll talk about your current role and then we'll percolate down to the other roles that you have served in other companies, right? So, I'm very curious to know, being an HEOR lead for a particular franchise, right, how your day looks like, because you are at a injunction of being strategic and being scientific, right? So, how this particularly blends, and then what kind of decisions you take on a day-to-day basis?
It's an interesting question because I mean, having worked in Boehringer Ingelheim in its headquarters, we come up with a lot more challenges than we cater to a company that is not corporate oriented. If you're working for regions, that has a separate workload, but working for corporate, you are responsible for managing all these big local, regional OPUs, operating units. So my day would definitely start with a coffee for sure, because I need to get ready for whatever challenges that start with. And then maybe we definitely have a lot of meetings oriented discussions, a blackboarding sessions, brainstorming sessions to understand how our asset would play a very important role in terms of its value, in terms of its efficacy, in terms of its commercial viability, etc. So being an HEOR lead, I would definitely would connect with plethora of stakeholders coming from access, coming from marketing, coming from medical, coming from HCP organizations, coming from patient support. So HEOR is central part of generating evidence for all these particular stakeholders. So stakeholder management is one of the most critical aspect when you lead a function, a stream for this. And then typically understand, chart all your evidence generation gaps. We have regular team meetings to understand what gaps that are very important for Boehringer, especially when a new drug is being launched into market. How do we, cater to these needs for a larger audience? And also we percolate whatever we have brainstormed to the regional units. We connect. US is our biggest market, that because that's where the money comes from, obviously. And then we connect. We have almost weekly connects with US leads, with asset leads, and also with field HEOR people. And then we connect with the regions, understanding their needs, because every market has its own different level of strategy, its level of understanding. So what holds for one market might not hold for other. So being at corporate, you are responsible for understanding the overall market dynamics, and how do you connect the dots between your business objective to the market dynamics of these OPs. I think that's how my day looks like. It's overall meetings, strategy sessions, blackboardings, and charting down, talking with different stakeholders, and then end the day. So it's a new challenge every day, every morning.
True, and I think that makes HUR and market access feel even more exciting, as you mentioned, that every country is different, the different bodies, the different rules and regulations, right? So great. Now, a very interesting question, which I am also very curious to know. So you are someone who has worked on a consulting side of thing and also as a part of core pharma. So what learnings you have drawn from both side of affairs, and how it has helped you to lead or to reach where you are currently?
So I started my career with Novartis. As you mentioned previously in the introduction, I started with Novartis. I was working for scientific writing team in the medical affairs, and then I slowly understood the importance of HEOR through my peers in Novartis, and then I started reading more about HEOR. How does it impact patient lives? How does it it also improved me more on just not on the personal basis, but also on the professional career path. Which career route should I take? And then I felt I'm more suited to HER. And then gladly I did my MBA in HER with special focus on HER. I did my MBA and then gained the sufficient required knowledge that would help me or equip me for the industry-based roles. So in Novartis, I didn't really work on any HUR projects. It's more on medical affairs. But then once I did my MBA in HUR and market access, then I started my career with IQVIA, and I would say IQVIA was my starting point to the field, to the world of HER, where I was more working with different markets, because consulting gives you that opportunity to explore different markets on different projects. So every project is different from the previous one, and that gives, and you are a constant learner because you have to be adept with all the recent advances, recent changes in the healthcare market. You need to be dynamic, agile, and grasp all these things. And then I think IQVIA gave me that platform to explore and reinvent myself, I would say, into more of this HUR field. And then I was really lucky to meet very good mentors from US, who actually gave me a chance, gave me full freedom to explore, to understand how economic modeling work, because I was a novice. I'm not a statistician. I'm just a HUR person by training. So, and then modeling would require a certain level of statistical rigor, would need certain understanding of how mathematical probabilities work and all. But it is through learning, through work, I think, and through my mentors from US and UK, I learned a lot about modeling. How do we approach a particular problem? How do we design different studies in terms of HUR models, in terms of literature reviews, in terms of evidence generation? So I think IQVIA did equip me with that instruments required for HUR. And then I transitioned from consulting to core pharma, which is Novo Nordisk. Uh, and with Novo Nordisk, I think I was also the global HEOR manager at Novo Nordisk. I was handling their newer drugs which are coming into market for heart failure, and that's when and shifting from agency to a pharma firm is completely a radical shift, because in IQVIA, I think it is more you are challenged every day because of the nature of projects. You need to be talking with your clients. You need to talk with your peers, with stakeholders. There's so many people that you would want to satisfy in terms of your methodology, your expertise, and all. But pharma is a different ball game altogether. Like in pharma, I think you work with a particular product, with particular brand, and that brand is yours. You need to own that brand. You need to own that particular launch, and you work diligently towards one particular product. And from Novo Nordisk, I felt how patient care, how global team works, how access works. I think that is something which Novo Nordisk helped me to gain understanding about. It gave me a much more world perspective, I would say, because I used to work with the Denmark colleagues on a very regular basis. And then I know how the strategy is being implemented from Denmark, and how we are carrying it back in India. So I think Novo Nordisk as a firm, as a pharma firm, definitely reshaped me to what I am. And it was my stepping stone for Boehringer. In between, I did a short stint with Accenture, not a short stint, I would say like almost 2 years stint with Accenture. With Accenture, it was more on digital and AI, because that's when there was a huge buzz around AI coming into healthcare. And when Accenture offered me a particular role, I felt nothing better than a tech company, and which is known for its life science consulting, is giving me a job offer, and I should definitely explore how Accenture as a tech company also combines both healthcare, my expertise, with Gen AI or or the newer technologies that are out there. So I think in Accenture, I understood overall commercial landscape, overall commercial objective, not just focusing on HEOR or access. It gave me an open understanding about how different functions work across the commercial ecosystem, and that and all these three companies definitely helped me to gain whatever I am with Boehringer, and I'm happy for the journey that I had.
No, no, interesting and a great journey indeed. So now I want to ask you a bit difficult question. So you have had a very long career journey in India, and now you are at a different geography, being in Europe. So I would like to understand, right, on the cultural aspect, and you already mentioned about cross-functional collaborations. So, how you are adapting to this change, and what has been some of the learnings that is coming out from your exposure?
Thank you for this interesting question. I think this is something which I also would have asked myself before I took the job at Boehringer, because I know even though it's a corporate company, I always had a career aspiration to work for corporate in its corporate headquarters. And when Boehringer offered me a job saying that, hey, like, we like your profile, this is something that you would want, and then I'm leading this asset. Uh, as an HEOR lead, I was really enthralled and thrilled, because I think my career aspiration came through. But with that, with great power comes great responsibilities, as the Spider-Man says. So I think this also opened up with greater responsibility in terms of understanding the overall stakeholder management, overall ecosystem of how corporate strategy works, which is very new to me, honestly, because in India I was more on the implementation side, but now going to the strategy working side and then guiding people across what strategy I am thinking, it's completely new to me. And also the cultural aspect, obviously, yes. I mean, there is a huge cultural impact, and Boehringer is known for its cultural integrity, and so is Novo Nordisk. Like, Novo Nordisk and Boehringer are, I think, are one of the strongest culture oriented companies in the world. And having said that, it's a bit easier for me, because it's very closer to what Novo Nordisk culture says. So I know how the dynamics of the cultural agility in Boehringer and in Novo Nordisk works. So I was able to adapt a bit quicker to the cultural changes that Boehringer's offer. Having said that, in my team, it's entirely international ratio that we have. I think we have like three Indians and two Polish, one Russian, and one Philippines, and one Turkish. So I think it's an international mix and then meeting all these like-minded people together, and working towards one single goal is definitely a challenge, because every person thinks in its own different way. No two people think in the same way, but we all helped each other, work towards the common goal of achieving the value that Boehringer drugs are being offered. And I think it's difficult at first, but I think that's the integral part of getting an international exposure, and getting your foot in global systems as well. So I think that's how I adapted.
No, no, indeed. And thanks for highlighting that stakeholder management part. And I guess the kind of journey that you have had working in consulting as well and in the core pharma, I think has really helped you, right, in managing this change and really adapting it to faster. Okay, great. Now coming to let me pick your brain and let's discuss about some of the HEOR trends. I don't want to go to in complexities of the EU joint HD assessment, because it would be, I think, too complex to understand. But I would like to really pick your brain on two things, right? What, according to you, is happening in the HEOR space, maybe one or two high level trends. And I am also interested to know your views, since you mentioned the tech side of things, being a part of Accenture, how AI is shaping up HEOR and what the future prospects with AI in HEOR looks like?
Sure. This is actually a very interesting question because pharma industry is actually ever evolving. There is a radical shift. I think out of all the industries out there, healthcare is the most dynamic, most agile, most adapting field that I have seen. And out of all this, I think we have different themes that are changing every day. Like one day you open the news and say, hey, Gen AI has created ripples. Quantum computing is coming into market. Large language models are the next oil. Data is the next oil. Yes, 100% sure. But I think uh, all these data changes definitely is worthwhile mentioning. But how do you adapt this data to not just where we get the data from, but how do you adapt this data and how is it creating impact? And where it is being used is the most important thing that we need to take care of. And I think it's very crucial to stay empathetic towards the field that is evolving. Like, for example, okay, data is coming up. Let's explore. Yes, that's fine. But then there should be always be a human angle attached to it, because healthcare is more about empathy. It's not about creating data models that increase everything. But at the end of the day, it's more of being empathetic, more patient centric. I would say at the end, you should every data point that you have will tell you a story. Be it for a payer, be it for a decision maker, be it for a patient. Every data has its own story that is attached, and the more you understand the story, the better you could actually adapt to these changes, is what I feel. Uh, there are, when you talk about the changes, yes, there are a lot of changes that are happening across the HEOR access part, especially with there is a new system which is coming, JCA, the Joint Clinical Assessment Committee, that is coming up for 2029, 2030. JCA is actually simplifying the overall access related hurdles or access related permissions that many countries adapt into one single network of consortium. So if you are a JCA approved drug, then it has relatively easy adaptability for access in different countries, though every country has its own regulatory or HTA directives. But if you follow the JCA guidelines, I think it's easier for a bigger drug to get access to it. When you talk about the AI models and the data or Gen AI that is being used in HEOR, I think where we are currently in is at the inception stage. I don't think companies have fully adapted into a Gen AI companies or something, because at the end of the day, every model requires a human intervention, a human touch to it. Uh, Having said that, yes, pricing and access have been forerunners in the data part of it, especially when you wanted to run different simulations of your data across different countries. It's very difficult to run manually. So I definitely feel having a large language model or using Gen AI, it has definitely helped in giving right data points, right messaging from the whole huge set of data that we have, and it's summarized, giving a summarized version which we can talk with HCPs or payers or decision makers. In that way, I think the companies are adapting. But having said that, until now, NICE and other HTA bodies do not really take AI generated model or AI generated evidence generation into the reimbursement scenario. This might change because of the evolving nature of data. But again, it's always good to learn things adapt things, and how best can we use this into the market. I think that's crucial. But for now, we are still at the inception phase, and I think this is a great opportunity for anyone who has a knack for scientific rigor plus data AI. I think this time is a very great opportunity for aspiring HUR students to come and take up these roles.
Great, no, and thanks for highlighting that human aspect of it and the empathy part of it. I think it's also very important to understand when we are dealing with a huge amount of data every day, not to forget that. Now, we already touched upon the experience part of it, so let me pick your brain. I think you are the relevant expert to ask this question. So, for example, for a HUR professional, right? So it's always a dilemma because HUR is relatively new field as compared to other established domain in pharma. So somebody who wants to be in HUR, right, is getting exposure to scientific writing, medical writing is the right channel to get into HUR, or maybe getting an academic degree, right? You have had multiple academic degrees as well in the HUR field. What is the right way to get an entry into this field, and what are some of the foundational skills that people should focus upon if they want to become a seasoned HUR professional like you?
Uh, Yes, I think a professional degree would definitely help because because this is not something that you can learn in like a day or two. It requires understanding a huge depth of academic rigor, including RWE, including epidemiology, including statistics. So HUR person needs to understand all these particular aspects, and how he informs this into his work schedule is something that is very important. So an academic degree is definitely an important a step to get into this HUR thing. Having said that, there are many scientific writing and medical affairs people who have been doing stretch assignments in different companies to understand how HUR and Access works. That is also a great way to explore this field, because once you are in a project, you learn the nuances of how the project runs. And I think working on the project as a stretch assignment, taking up on your own, self-learning, you can definitely do. But there are some technical aspects where I think you need to bit understand the background of it. Having done doing the project do not really equip you with the necessary aspects of economic modeling. In that case, it depends on which field he or she would want to go. If they wanted to go into evidence generation, I think doing a stretch assignment in a company and would definitely help them. But if they want to go into core modeling and pricing analysis, I think it's imperative for them to have at least a statistical background. There are a lot of courses out there in like University of York does offer short-term programs. They need not do a full 2-year long program to get it, but there are also short programs which are offered by University of Sheffield, University of York. These are one of the biggest schools in the world for HUR. And doing these kind of courses can also help you understand the different dynamics of HEOR field, and could also equip you with the necessary tools. So I think this is how you as an aspiring HEOR people should look into. I mean, I would always say, like, start with the depth and then increase your breadth. I think that's my way of looking at things. And building expertise definitely depends on one's career aspirations, one's interest, how much time he or she would be able to give to the particular project. Learning, be a constant learner, and don't be afraid to challenge your own assumptions. That's what I would say.
No, thank you so much for that elaborative answers and also recommending certain short courses. Now, before we dive into the next round, I would close this part with a question. So, you have had a great journey. Now, you are at a front line of leading an HUR, right, with a great company. What is the vision in future you are working towards?
Definitely, uh, patient care is something which is at the heart of any company or any work that you do. I think patient access and patient care are numero uno. There is no denying that every pharma company works towards giving reputable access of their drugs to the patients and treating patients, and nothing gives you the zing than treating patients lives. I think that's the core motto, I would say. And more than that, I think in this cardiorenal space you feel that there are like hundreds of drugs which are out there in the market, but there is still a huge unmet need in this particular space. So there is a constant need for innovation, both technologically as well as on the research wise. I think there needs to be a huge unmet need that needs to be derived. There is a huge residual risk that needs to be reduced. So I think working towards the common objective of patient care while reducing this residual risk and improving the access, I think that's the core value that I would work towards.
Great. Now we have come to a juncture, and I would like to move to our next round, which we call as a rapid fire round. So I'm going to ask you quick questions and expect quick answers. And the idea is to have those golden nuggets of wisdom, and would really like to understand what goes behind the curtain, right? What are your perspectives and principles that keep you going? Okay, so are you ready? Should we get started?
Sure, this is
Great.
my first faster finger first, I guess. So let's see
Okay.
how it goes.
Okay, I've listed them down, so I'm just looking a bit away from the screen on my second screen. So the first question is one productivity hack that you swear by.
One productivity hack. Uh, Chat GPT, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
But again, not overusing it, but then just to get the required knowledge, I think Chat GPT has been my recent productivity hack. But always, I would go for a books.
Okay. Are you a strategic planner or spontaneous thinker?
I am definitely a spontaneous thinker. I think strategy depending on the question at hand. I definitely am a spontaneous thinker.
Interesting. One philosophy you live by, no matter what.
As I said, start with depth and then increase your breadth. That is my philosophy. I would always do that in my whatever work I do.
Okay. Now, one thing you love about working in Germany and one thing you miss the most about India.
Work about Germany is definitely the international exposure that I got. I would say, I mean that I wouldn't have got working back in India. The kind of people I meet every day, I think that's something which I definitely love working for Germany. One thing living in India, I think the food, the people, the relations that I have, I think that's the common answer which everyone gives. But I think I would definitely going to miss the beautiful moments I used to spend in India. But yeah, yeah.
Okay. If you had to explain HUR to a 10-year-old, what would you say in one line?
uh, how do I say to a 10-year-old? It's just if you need, for example, if you need 15 chocolates at hand and you have 15 different varieties of chocolate, which chocolate do you think would interest you the most and why? I would ask him the question first. And then, depending on his answer, and then I would say why you like this. What is the importance that you give for this? Is it the taste? Is it the structure, or is it the flavor? So so I then relate this particular thing to the health economics part, saying that in the likewise you have every drug has its own risk, benefit, cost, everything attached. So I think as and when you choose a chocolate, I think choosing the right drug is also very important. So yeah, that's the only analogy I can think of right now.
Your most memorable project that shaped your thinking, something that comes top of your mind.
Oh yeah, so that's one project which I was with IQVIA. I think that was the most challenging work that I have done in my entire pharma career until now. I think work developing an economic model for a company for its new drug, and this is my first economic model project. It was started. The health economic lead was in Germany. I was supporting him, and that economic lead left the company, and then I was the only person who was working, and then I was made to lead the project. So it was like it was like learning everything on the go. And fortunately I had my US leads really helping me out wherever I'm stuck. I had a chance to visit the company in Switzerland. I was able to present my idea, how it went and all. So that was a very great learning experience. And it is one of the first international project that I worked. Like it's for a Swiss client working with US colleagues. Or I'm an Indian, so and we are catering Australian market, PBAC. I think that's truly a global project.
Indeed. Okay. And if you want to highlight one failure which has taught you a lesson, but you feel blessed about.
Yeah, sure. Maybe I was not that. I did not have a great career start with Novartis. I would say it was not something that I scientific writing is not something that I am meant to. So I did not really enjoy the work that I did, and I think. But having said that, I did not like it. But then, having said that, that was the paving success to my HEOR field. Had I not joined Novartis, I wouldn't have known HEOR through peers, and then I would not been the person I am. So even though I feel that I did not do a great job at my first company, but I think it definitely shaped me to what I am right now.
Okay. Book, movie, podcast. What's your taste
Movie
if you
for
want to
sure.
recommend?
Yeah, movies
Any
for
any
sure.
any good movie you want to recommend?
A lot many movies, but they're difficult to pick one. But in the recent times, maybe I watched F1 yesterday. I think that's a good movie. I think everyone should watch that. It was a very success. It was a story told by how a middle-aged man would come back again to his F1 career and then revive. It's a very inspirational story. I would say people should watch that.
Okay. Difficult to pick, but a mentor or leader who has deeply influenced you.
I think there is one definitely when in IQVIA when I was working with the US colleagues. I think Pinar Biller, she's the one who was one of my first teachers or mentors in this field. She was great in hand holding me, making me teach everything. She was like, I think she was a Princeton graduate or something, but still she was very humble, very very much grounded and very nice to people. So I think she was one of my first mentors, definitely. And yeah, and personally, I think my grandpa. I think he was one of my greatest mentors ever. So I think these are the two people who shaped my life.
Sure. And you are passing on this legacy by being here and sharing your knowledge today.
Hope so. People
Wha-
get at least one person get inspired. I'm happy.
Sure. One skill young professionals should invest in today.
Learning, be a constant learner. As I said, like you should not be afraid to challenge your own assumptions. I think the day you leave all your inhibitions aside and then start questioning the very rationale of what you are doing, I think then you are almost a successful person. At the step of you almost reached one step of being a successful person. That's the only advice I give to young people.
Okay. If you weren't in pharma or HUR, what you would be doing?
I think maybe a stand-up comedian. People say that. I don't know. I
Wow.
mean, it's up to people who say me. Maybe a stand-up comedian, or maybe a movie script writer. I used to write a lot of scripts when I was young, so maybe I would have chosen that career.
So that calls for another podcast, maybe sometime.
Uh,
uh, Now this is a difficult one, and we'll close with this one. What success means to you?
for me, success is always a journey. It's not a destination. I think that's for me. You should not be overwhelmed with whatever you achieved, because there is always something to achieve. You have achieved A, there is always a B to go, and if you have B, then the C. So it's always a journey that you have to take care of, and always stay humble, always stay grounded. Wherever success takes you, I think you should always remember where you came from. That is what success means to me.
Great. So with that note, that comes to always good things come to an end, right? So you have passed the rapid fire round with flying colors. I would say that.
Will I reach the
And
hamper or something? No.
then I'll send it,
Uh,
quote unquote. So with that, thank you so much for your time. I am very sure that all our viewers would found this podcast extremely valuable, and they would definitely take out some insights that can help them. With that, this is BRiK Academy's Candid Conversation, and you were listening to Bhrugu Pariti. If you are not subscribed to our channel, please visit our LinkedIn page. Please follow our LinkedIn page and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is the eighth podcast we are doing with Bhrugu. And if you have not watched the earlier seven ones, amazing insights is lying there. So please do watch. And again, Bhrugu, thank you so much for your time. And here, I think we are signing off, and you have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks, Meher. Thank you so much.